West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, flowing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down country road. All my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue waters, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrops in my eye. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down country road. I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get the feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down country road. Country roads take me home to the place I belong.
It's that time of year again. The most anticipated video for everybody who subscribes to the Easy Cage Show,
Even though we're listening to our YouTube partnership.
Rainy Cage Show, all of it. It's the top 10 movies of 2017. It's exciting times. There was a ton of great movies this past year. This was one of the harder years for me to make this list. But let's dive into it. Why don't you go first with your honorable mentions?
Oh, okay. My first honorable mention is Molly's Game, the Aaron Sorkin directed movie starring Jessica Chastain. I really much enjoyed this movie. I really liked Aaron Sorkin's directing of the movie. I thought Jessica Chastain did a really great performance. Don't think she'll get an Oscar nomination. I think she'll probably get Amy Adams this year. And I really enjoyed Molly's Game, and the dialogue is just hilarious. My second honorable mention is 3 Billboards Near Edmond, Missouri. I love this movie. I really love this movie. This was the movie this year that probably surprised me more than any movie I saw this year. And I thought Frances McDormand was really great in this movie. I really liked all the other supporting cast. I thought Sam Rockwell, Sam's. I thought he was really good. Also thought Woody Harrelson was good. But like I said, this movie completely surprised me. And I really liked the movie. Kind of wants you to kind of figure out your own kind of ending. And I kind of really like that about the movie. And my third final honorable mention is Dunkirk, the Christopher Nolan war epic movie. I love this movie. And I think I like this movie more and more I think about it. Just the different perspectives they did for the war, the 3 different timelines. It really became a Christopher Nolan movie, but it was also a great homage to the Dunkirk. And I very much really enjoyed this movie. That's my honorable mentions.
Alright, my first honorable mention is The Darkest Hour. Gary Oldman puts on one heck of a performance. He is a lock for sure for Best Actor nomination, and he's going to win it. But it was a great movie. It's just mainly 2 hours of dialogue, but it's freaking just interesting stuff. And I think I said this in my review, but if not, I think it pairs well with Dunkirk, which I think is a severely overrated movie. But I think if you had a double movie night, or if somebody did like a fan edit of those two, I think they would go really good with each other. And I really, really liked Darkest Hour. My second honorable mention is Baby Driver. Baby Driver is an Edgar Wright film, and it's fantastic. It's one of the things that everybody...
Christopher Plummer was great in that movie.
He was great in that movie. A lot of people love how the music was a character in this movie. It definitely is. The music's fantastic. But I liked a lot of the other stuff going on here. It's acted really well. The chase scenes are really cool. And yeah, I just freaking loved it. It's another really good Edgar Wright movie. And definitely was right up there on my list. And then my final honorable mention was The Big Sick. This is Kumail Nanjiani, whatever.
The Pakistani comedian.
It's based on his life, and then they got Zoe Kazan in there to play his wife, which I love freaking Zoe Kazan. And it was like, it's a rom-com, but you know, it's told from the perspective of a comedian. There's a lot of inside comedian stuff going on in this movie. But it's very, got a lot of heart, and it's funny, and it was just a really good movie.
So time to begin my 10 through 6. So my number 10 is The Disaster Artist. Disaster Artist movie directed by James Franco and starring James Franco, also starring Dave Franco, Seth Rogen, Allison, whatever her name is, Allison Brie. And I absolutely love this movie. I thought this movie... Just the story. You don't have to see The Room to enjoy this movie, because I really, really enjoyed this movie. I thought James Franco gives an Oscar caliber performance. We'll see if he gets nominated with all the stuff coming out against him. That might hurt his Oscar nominations. But I really enjoyed James Franco in this movie. He completely becomes Tommy Wiseau. He's like, I'm from New Orleans, and it's just an incredible movie. I like to see more movies about making of movies. Like I really want to see a making of Apocalypse Now. My number 9 is a great conclusion to a really old character who has been around a while. No, not that one. I'm talking about War for the Planet of the Apes. I really, really love this movie. I thought it was a great conclusion to the Caesar trilogy of the Planet of the Apes movies. I thought Matt Reeves did a really good job directing. I thought Andy Serkis did a really good job as playing this character Caesar, who kind of has to accept... It's kind of like a Western in his style. I think the title is a little misleading. But other than that, this is a great movie, and it is an end to a really great trilogy. Another great trilogy for our time. My number 8... It's the other Western, and it is Logan. I really like Logan. It came out back in March, I believe, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the progression of Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine character. I love that we finally got to see blood on the claws. I do think the movie runs a little too long, and I also don't like the twin of Wolverine in the movie. I think it kind of throws out the movie for me a little bit, but Patrick Stewart also does a great performance. Might get an Oscar nomination for that movie as well. But I mean, the movie, I think I enjoyed this movie a little more, thinking that it's kind of made in the vein of like an Unforgiven or a Shane, and I really much enjoyed Logan. My number 7 was, I think, the most fun I had all year watching a movie, and that was Baby Driver. I thought Ansel Elgort as his character, Baby, was incredible. I really thought Lily James was great in this movie as well. Really great damsel in distress character, but they had a really good fun time with it. Also, really liked Kevin Spacey in the movie. Say what you want about that person, but I thought his performance in this movie was incredible. Also, John Hamm was great. Jamie Foxx. This movie is stacked with great characters in it. And I'm looking forward to seeing a sequel if they ever really do make that movie. And also the soundtrack is kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I kind of like this. I think it kind of expands on what Guardians of the Galaxy did. So I really enjoyed Baby Driver. My number 6 is Wonder Woman. Woo! I love this movie. I mean, first of all, it was great seeing a kick-ass female in a great superhero movie, but it was also a great little story. I thought Patty Jenkins directed the hell out of this movie, because let's be honest with us, the DC universe is in the best, and for a movie like Wonder Woman to succeed on the way it did is incredible. That no man scene in the movie is incredible. Just the action alone in the movie is great. And it was also made in kind of that sense of the 1979 Superman movie. I thought it did a really great job paying homage to other DC property. And I'm really looking forward to what they do in the future for Wonder Woman. And that's my 10 through 6.
Alright, my 10 through 6. My number 10 is Coco, the only animated movie to even think about putting on my top 10 this year, and thank God, because this year was just pure garbage in the animated world. Coco came out and saved it, because it was going to be a sad year for animation movies without Coco. It's fantastic, it's beautiful as usual for a Pixar movie, but it's got a ton of heart, got me teary-eyed, which Pixar's good at doing that. And it's another movie. This year had a lot of movies that involved music. This movie was a very musical movie, and all the music in it was really good. And I really liked Coco. My number 9 is Logan Lucky, the heist film from Soderbergh. You had Adam Driver, Channing Tatum, and Daniel Craig. And this movie was fantastic. I know it didn't really connect with you as much as it did with me, but man, I loved the whole heist element of the movie. It was done really well. Yes, we've seen heist movies before, but I felt this one was, at the top level for a heist film. I loved all the characters. The characters were so good. It made the movie for me. Daniel Craig steals every scene that he's in. He's fantastic in the movie. And even the little girl in the movie I really liked. There was just so much to love about this movie. My number 8 is War for the Planet of the Apes. Even though there really isn't a war in this movie, everything else about it is fantastic. Like he said, it caps off the trilogy perfectly. Sure, I didn't like it as much as the last movie, but we got to see Caesar grow through all these movies, and it was freaking fantastic. This was the darkest of the Planet of the Apes movie, that's for sure. And there was some cool battle scenes and a lot of character in this movie. It's just, it was like a little mismarketed. There was no real war between the humans and the apes. But man, it was a good movie. The CG in this movie deserves some kind of award. I mean, it's freaking crazy how realistic all of this looked. My number 7 is I, Tonya. Margot Robbie is fantastic in this movie. She needs to get an Oscar nomination. She will at least get a nomination, I think. I don't know if she'll get the award, but then her supporting cast, her mom in this, Allison Janney, is so good. She plays one of the evilest, most despicable characters I have ever seen in my entire life.
Bitch.
But she is so good at it. You just can't take your eyes away. And then all the other side characters are so hilarious. The Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, cracks me up. Him and his buddy, every time they were on scene, I was giggling the whole time. And then I like how they do stuff like break the fourth wall. They filmed it kind of documentary style. And I don't know, I was just fascinated by the movie. It proves that Margot Robbie is not just a pretty face. She was fantastic in this film. And the more I think about it, the more I like this movie. And it deserves a 7 spot. My number 6 is The Shape of Water. Guillermo del Toro, he is a visionary mastermind, and he did it once again here. This movie looks fantastic, but what he excels out even more in this, where he hasn't before, is the story and the cast are all fantastic. This world, this kind of seedy government spy kind of dark world is in here, and you get a romance between, yes, a girl and a creature, but it's so sweet and charming. You just kind of fall in love with these characters, especially Sally Hawkins. She's fantastic in this movie. She'll probably also get an Oscar nomination for her role in this film. But yeah, it's a great, great movie. One of Del Toro's best, if not his best.
Alright, now it's time for my 5 through 2. My number 5 was, my opinion, the best superhero movie of the year, and that is Spider-Man Homecoming. I absolutely fell in love with this movie. It's the first time I saw it. And I've seen it again since. I've seen it in theaters. But I just love the great coming-of-age story we saw in this movie with Peter Parker. And whenever he's stuck under the rubble, and when he just hears the words from Tony Stark, he's like, if you're nothing without the suit, you don't deserve the suit. And this just became a great coming-of-age story. Also, you have Michael freaking Keaton. What a great villain. I think the best Marvel villain yet. I don't care. I think he's the best Marvel villain so far.
Better than Loki?
Yes.
Wow.
Not even close. I think, because you understand where the character's coming from. The problem with Marvel villains is they do not set the characters up. And he did such a great job in this movie. And like I said, coming-of-age story, great. Action was great. And I loved how sparingly they used Tony Stark in this movie. I thought they did a really good job with this movie. My number 4 is, I'm a historian fanatic. I love movies that deal with a lot of history, and I love The Darkest Hour. I thought Darkest Hour was a movie that blew me away. I think I really enjoyed the movie when I first saw it, but the more and more I think about the movie, I absolutely love it. Gary Oldman's performance in this movie is great, but there's so much more going on in the movie than just a great performance. Because I've been hearing some people saying that the performance was the only thing really good about the movie. I absolutely disagree about this movie, because you have the story of the party trying to bring peace to with Hitler and Germany so they can try to stay alive. You kind of understand that perspective. And then just the stuff with Gary Oldman was just great. When he's in the train is great. Lily James was awesome. The stuff with Ben Mendelsohn as King George VI was awesome as well. I absolutely fell in love with this movie, and it's going to be a movie I'm going to buy on Blu-ray. It's going to be a movie I'm going to watch over and over again, just like Lincoln that came out a few years ago. My number 3 is Wind River. It was funny because last year I had Hell or High Water at number 3, and it's another Taylor Sheridan movie. This time he directs. This movie stars Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen, and it was just a great little kind of, I guess, another kind of Western movie. Taylor Sheridan just knows how to write and direct movies, and anytime I hear a movie being directed or even being written by Taylor Sheridan, I'm going to go see the movie, because I thought Jeremy Renner gave the best performance of his career. I know Elizabeth Olsen did, I think, her best performance of her career. Young career for her, but it was a great performance from her. And just the story of them trying to find these guys that killed this girl. And then it's just a heart-wrenching movie. And I absolutely fell in love with Wind River. And my number 2 is The Shape of Water. I think this is Guillermo del Toro's best movie of all time. Because I've not been a fan of del Toro. I did not like Pacific Rim. I did not like Crimson Peak. I absolutely fell in love with The Shape of Water when I watched it. And I did not expect that. Because when I saw the trailer for Shape of Water, I'm like, I'm not going to like this. And guess what? I fell in love with it. And it's probably the biggest surprise of the year for me. Because I absolutely love The Shape of Water. The stuff with Sally Hawkins and the aquatic creature, the romance. I mean, when you hear it's like a Black Lagoon meets a love story, you're just like, what the hell? And it was completely awesome. The cinematography, the way sometimes Del Toro does his movies are a little too stylistic. I fell in love with his style for this movie, and I also like the side story with the Russian spy story. Michael Shannon was amazing in this movie, and I absolutely love Shape of Water. That's my 5 through 2.
All right, time for my 5 through 2. My number 5 is the first of 3 movies, I think, in my top 5 that have first-time directors. Wind River, like you were talking about, this is Taylor Sheridan's directorial debut. So he wrote and directed this movie. It's freaking fantastic. It's another movie that had kind of like these Western feels to it. It's way out in the middle of nowhere, a place I definitely do not want to go. You definitely felt like you were in this freaking snowy mountain area. But man, the story was good. The performances were fantastic. And Elizabeth Olsen, like you said, Jeremy Renner is the best I've ever seen Jeremy Renner. And yeah, there was several times in this movie where not only was I like shocked, surprised, but then I would be like tearing up because Jeremy Renner been giving this crazy emotional dialogue. It's a fantastic movie. One I do want to go back and watch a couple more times. My number 4, another first-time director, Greta Gerwig. She did Lady Bird, and when I went to see this movie, I was pretty hyped up on it. It has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, it's one of the most well-reviewed movies of the year. But I was surprised at how much I connected to it. Saoirse Ronan will probably get nominated, maybe even win an Oscar for this performance. She's fantastic in it. It's a coming-of-age film. But, you know, it's a coming-of-age film for a female, and, you know, it's directed and written by a female. This movie's fantastic. It graduates in the year that I graduated, so maybe that's why I connected to it more. But there was lots of twists and turns I didn't see coming, and it's just beautifully acted. Saoirse Ronan's mom, I forget what her name is, she's fantastic in it too.
Sheldon's mom,
yeah. Their relationship is just so confrontational throughout the movie. Whereas like I, Tonya, that was pure evil. This mom, you can understand why the way she acts the way she does. And, you know, their relationship's really good. This is a really good mother-daughter film, I feel like. And yeah, I love the movie. My number 3, another coming-of-age movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. And, you know, You would think Spider-Man coming back again, being rebooted, but it was going to be a horrible idea. But after Civil War last year, I just had good feelings, and this movie's fantastic. It's a beautiful coming-of-age film. Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man. I like how we had Tony Stark in here as his mentor, as his father figure, and I like that we didn't get the same origin story before. We just skipped over all that. We got a new origin story, and I loved it. My number 2, Molly's Game, another first-time director, Aaron Sorkin. I mean, just knocks it out of the park right out the gate. I loved Molly's Game. I was sitting there in that theater. I remember this was on our crazy movie night. We went and saw 3 movies, and this was, I think, the longest one at 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I mean, when it was over, I was like, what? How is this over already? The dialogue is fantastic. The performances are great. I do agree that Jessica Chastain could get skipped over for an Oscar nomination. I think she'll at least get nominated. But we'll see. But Kevin Costner and Idris Elba are fantastic in the film. Every time they're on screen, I was just like even more sucked in. The dialogue's great. You expect that from an Aaron Sorkin written movie, but it's directed really well too. And this is a movie I will want to watch again and again. I loved it. This reminded me of The Social Network a few years back. How surprised I was with how much I liked the movie. All right, let's go with your number 1 first.
All right, my number 1 is a movie. This is one of these rare occasions where the sequel is better than the original, and this is 2 years in a row for this director. My number 1 is Blade Runner 2049. When I watched this movie, it blew me away. I thought Ryan Gosling's performance in this movie was incredible. He completely becomes the character. And Ryan Gosling is just such on a hot streak with this and La La Land and Nice Guys. His performance was great. The girl who plays his girlfriend, she's so hot. She's so hot. But she was so good too. And I want to see her in more and more things. And when we do our Easy Cage nominations, I'm nominating her for Breakout Star of the Year. And then the girl that's hunting down Ryan Gosling's character was really great as well. And then I really liked how sparingly they used Harrison Ford in this movie. I thought that was incredible the way they did it. And they weren't just trying to repeat the treads of the original Blade Runner. They tried to make their own movie. I really liked Jared Leto in this movie. He was in the movie very little, but I thought he was a great villain in the movie. I absolutely love Blade Runner 2049. The movie flew by for me. I do not know why this movie did not make more money at the box office, which pisses me off, but Dan Villeneuve, you're 2 for 2 for the Darth Easy's top 10 movies, and that's why Blade Runner 2049 is my favorite movie in 2017.
I liked Blade Runner. We continued the tradition of your number 1 not being on our top 10, or on my top 10. This was probably the closest one to make my top 10 than your other past 2 years, but it's long. It didn't have enough Harrison Ford for me. Those would be my 2 negatives, but it is one beautiful looking movie, and I liked it way better than the first one too, because the first one I still have a hard time getting into. But this one, I could see buying this on Blu-ray for me and watching it again. So, yeah. But I just felt like it was up there. Like I said, it was in my honorable mention area. So, my number 1,
The Last Jedi.
It's The Last Jedi. I've turned around, guys. After the 5th time, I've realized it's genius. No, my number 1 is Logan. Logan is the only movie on my list I've seen 3 times. It's fantastic. It is one of the best comic book movies ever made. I've said many times it's the best movie since the Dark Knight. And this is coming from somebody, and I said this in my review, I don't even like the Wolverine character very much. Every time I would review the movies back in the day, I would go like, why do we focus so much freaking time on Wolverine? I was like, there's a million X-Men. Why are we focusing on Wolverine? And then he's got his own movies, but I mean, the guy has played this character for 17 years, and this was the perfect ending. I don't want him to put the claws back on. I know everybody wants him to come back in Deadpool, maybe for a cameo, but I would prefer to just this be his end. And it was a beautiful movie on so many levels. It's a Western. It's got fantastic performances from Patrick Stewart, him, that won't get recognized at the Oscars, and it's a freaking shame because they're so freaking good in this movie. The little girl who plays X-23, I can't remember her name right now, but she's fantastic. I hope she gets her own movie. Who knows, with Disney buying Fox. It's heartwarming. It's beautiful. It's got, like you said, they bring it Wolverine rated R. You get to see the blood, but it's there for purpose. It's just a well put together movie. And every time I've seen this movie, I've tearing up just thinking about it. It's a beautiful movie. It's a shame that you have Wonder Woman hired in this movie. But whatever. Logan is my favorite movie of the year. It wasn't even close. No movie even came close to this movie. Just like last year, no movie came close to my number one. This was the one for me, man.
Man, he's crying.
That's how emotional I am about this movie. It's a good movie.
All right, that's our top 10 movies of 2017. I'm sure y'all have all been waiting for it. Probably not. But anyways,
it was a good year. Any movies that didn't make your list that you're a little sad about? You said Lady Bird.
Lady Bird was close. I was really wanting to put Big Stick in there, but just couldn't. And then there were some other movies like Split.
Yeah,
the first movie I saw of the year, completely blew me away. I'm looking forward to Glass coming out in 2019.
Yep.
And yeah, it was a good year for movies. It really was.
It's a couple that didn't make my list that I struggled not getting in there. Stronger. It's a shame Jake Gyllenhaal is not going to get any awards recognition for that movie. The Greatest Showman is growing on me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like La La Land for me last year, which started off here to just grow it, but didn't make my list. And then, Power Rangers, Perry Nemiroff, Power Rangers, right? I mean, that deserved to make the top 10.
Yeah.
Another coming of age movie. This seemed like the year of coming of age movies. But yeah, it was a good year. Here's to 2018. Woo! Until next year.
All too easy.
Peace out.
These country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me